let me share with you how I have shifted my money story, how I have attracted more abundance this year, and it wasn't through my business. For the longest time, I've had, wait, no, hold on. I never understood that I had a money story before. I never understood what a money story was. And then I started to pay attention to what my money story was. I thought I was the only person in the world with a money story, but I'm not. We all have one. So I want to share with you a few things that I've done to shift my identity around money, to raise my awareness around money, so that I've been able to attract more, so that you can do the same. The first thing you need to know is that your nature is abundant. You are an extension of the formless, glorious, most abundant universe. You are an extension of that. You have access to everything within you. This map of consciousness, it talks about the degrees of separation that cause us to believe that we are separate from the universe, and how we can actually understand that we are way more than the world told us to settle for. So your spiritual nature is one of abundance. Now, I say this often to my clients. We are not separate from nature. We are a part of nature. So if you were to look at nature, you're not able to count how many leaves there are on the trees, let alone how many there are on the floor, on the ground. You're not able to count the blades of grass. You're not able to count in how many petals there are on a flower or flowers. You're not able to count up how many variations of trees and plants and vegetables and fruits there are. Your nature is also that abundant. So the first thing to remember then is that you are abundant in nature. You have so much coursing through you. You have so much energy coursing through you. As you know, when I began this journey of personal development, one of the first things I started to do was say thank you. Say thank you for my home. Say thank you for the fact that I have a bathroom to clean and having hot water on tap. Hot water. There are people in the world that don't have any clean water, and we use water to clean our bathrooms. We are so abundant. We have totally overlooked it. And in the overlooking of the abundance that surrounds us, we have turned off the reticular activating system, the filter in the brain that filters in what is important to you or not, what is most aligned with you or not. So there might be millions of opportunities around you that you have overlooked simply because you think in a lack mindset. And that's not a judgment. I've been there. We're taught this lie in school that we are not abundant in nature, that you have to go chase your abundance, that you have to go chase your success. You do not. You have to simply become aware of who you are and what you have within you. There is nothing out there that makes you more special. Everything within you makes you perfect just as you are. You're abundant. Here's the thing. So let's tie it together then with universal principles. If you start to shift your identity and you start to shift the idea that actually you don't live in lack, you live in abundance, when you turn on your reticular activating system, you then start to attract in like, because like attracts like. That is the law of vibration and law of attraction merging together as one. Actually, I teach this in my work. So your point of attraction is the way you're thinking and the way you're feeling. So when you begin to shift your attention and you start to tell yourself that you're abundant because you are part of an abundant universe, that you are surrounded by abundance, that your nature is all abundant, you start to attract more abundance into your life, because like attracts like, and you've turned on the filter that starts to see it. Without turning it on, without recognizing and looking outside of the parameters that we've set for ourselves, we will not be able to see it. So the first thing to do is start looking for where you are already abundant. Where might you be overlooking how prosperous you actually are? One of the things I learned when I began this process of personal development and working on my abundance story was what blocks money from coming in. The kind of thing that blocks money from coming in is complaining. What do you complain about in your day? And how many people in your world, you might not be the complainer in your group, but how many people in your group are complainers? This has an impact on you. This has an impact on your vibration. This has an impact on your frequency. So avoid complaining. Shift into gratitude. Shift into regulated space of being present. You are responsible for you. So if something isn't going right in your life, what can you do to fix it? Let's start looking inwards. Let's start taking responsibility for ourselves. That way we'll stop waiting on other people to come and do the thing that we can only do for ourselves. That's one of the greatest things I actually learned, was no one else is coming. No one's coming to save me. I've got to do this for myself. And that actually is a really powerful thing, because you then tune in to your highest, greatest self. Why would you not choose to do this? Another thing that stands in the way of you and the abundance, the desires that you seek, is telling yourself you don't have enough. Constantly reminding yourself of an identity of old where you felt like you didn't have enough. I don't have enough money right now. I don't have enough time right now. I don't have enough friends. I don't have enough support. I don't have enough. That scarcity-based thinking is keeping us stuck in this dark, heavy, weighty energy, reminding you of scarcity, reminding you that you might not be enough, and that is not the truth. You are abundant in nature. So as you begin to raise in frequency, as you begin to raise in awareness, as you begin to raise in how you're feeling, as you begin to raise your emotional awareness, as you begin to raise your inner conversation, you will start to become more and more abundant, not because money started to flow in, but because you've changed what's happening within you, and outside begins to shift. When you raise in awareness, when you raise in emotional awareness, you tap into your most creative part. You tap into your most free part. That is why I say there is nowhere for you to go. Everything you need is within you. Scarcity and lack are just opposite ends of the scale. We are abundant either in scarcity or abundant in abundance. We get to choose which of those ends we focus on. The world taught us that once you are something, you remain that, and that is not the truth. Wherever you are right now, you can choose something new anytime you want, because all frequencies are available to all people. It's all about how you're thinking and feeling. When you start to get these two under control, everything else begins to follow. I can't say it often enough. That is how it works. When you start to think differently, you feel differently, you act differently, and everything else follows. It's true. Another symptom of living in scarcity is actually lower emotional regulation. You're stuck in a place of worry and doubt and fear. You're stuck in shame cycles. Your self-talk is just not the most pleasant. If you were to talk to somebody else the way you talk to yourself, they'd tell you to go do one. So maybe you could start talking to yourself in a kinder, more loving way. Maybe you could teach yourself how and why you can be worried, but how you can turn that worry into excitement. You can recognize that you feel a little bit of doubt, and how you can shift that into faith. When you feel like it might not work out, how you know that things always work out for you because of who and what you are and what you have access to. Your emotional regulation plays a massive part in how you attract certain things into your life, whatever those things might be. Manifestation is a sign of a regulated nervous system. It is a sign that you feel safe in receiving the thing that you're going after. You feel safe in being seen. You feel safe in being heard. You feel safe in even being judged. You care not. Why? Because you are emotionally regulated. You understand that your peace comes from you. You understand that you're not here to please other people. You're here to grow and serve what Source has created. That's what you're here for. You are here to fulfill the calling that's on your heart that you keep telling yourself is not there, because it's safer, you think, to stay down here when it isn't. Actually, comfort is an illusion, because nothing stays the same. So this will start to get uncomfortable after a while. And then you're going to have to find new ways to be comfortable down here. So what if you just consciously chose something else for yourself, and you start to grow and start to desire more for yourself, but then do the work to make those desires, dreams into realities. You can actually create from the formless into form using your imagination, using your thoughts and feelings. That is the power. That is the power of emotional regulation. That is the power of understanding that you are not your feelings, you are not your thoughts. You are the one experiencing your feelings. You are the one experiencing your thoughts. So when you get to know yourself, you know where these things are coming from. You stop judging yourself and you start to think about what you can do differently. You can't change something by remaining the same. You can only change it by becoming aware of it. So what is your story? And what are the things that you think might be blocking you? Because when you become aware of them, there's zero judgment. You go, oh yeah, I see how that happened. I think I'm going to choose something else now. It is really this simple. Stop letting it be complicated. Stop letting people tell you it's complicated, and start instead telling yourself why you're worthy already, why you don't need anything to be different, and how you can shift out of an older reality into a new simply by thinking, feeling, and acting differently in accordance with a desire and dream that is somewhere in the future. When you start to work from the inside out, you start to understand that the better you feel, the better you feel. The better you feel, the more you receive to feel better about yourself. It is a beautiful loop. We're stuck in a kind of anti-clockwise loop. We are waiting for something to shift, and then we're in this loop of just waiting for something to shift. And then we don't see it shifting. So then we observe our reality and tell ourselves that nothing's going to change. And we start to reaffirm that identity, reaffirm that reality, and we get stuck in the same loop. But if you start to tell yourself why you can feel better, how you can feel better, when you start to do the work, when you start to do breath work, when you start to read, when you start to meditate, when you start to visualize, when you start to become emotionally regulated, when you start to do that work, that's when you realize that the better I feel, the more I receive to feel better. It is beautiful and it is available to you. You don't have to go anywhere. You can literally go sit down right now and go meditate. Go grab a journal, go sit down for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and ask yourself who you would love to be, and go from there. Ask yourself what you think is stopping you from getting there, and sit in 10 minutes of silence. Those thoughts, you'll get some recurring old thoughts, but listen to them and then hear what's coming up. Follow the pattern of what's coming up and start to shift it. Shift those old beliefs. Are they true now? Would you choose those beliefs now? That dialogue will have some gold in it that you get to look at and think, yep, I see what I've done there, and then choose something different. That is your prerogative. That is the gift that you have. That is how we shift our lives, my friends. There is just recognizing that you have a pattern and a story, and then recognizing that you can change it and then go about changing it. Now, change can be challenging. I know this, I get this. But what is harder? Is it harder to stay the same, or is it harder to change? We get to choose that. And you don't have to make big sweeping changes. Start with something small and build the consistency of that and add things to it. Start to stack your wins. When you start to live this way, you start to recognize that miracles are normal. You start to realize that you really are connected to something greater. Your answers don't need to come from anyone or anything else. They can come from you, because that's where all the answers are. God's omnipresence is everywhere. That means in every single cell of your being, you have access to it. So, do you feel more abundant yet? Honestly, there are so many ways to activate abundance in your life, and these are some of the main ways. What you'll notice is that as you begin to implement these few things, other things will start to become apparent to you. You'll start to see where you maybe had a lack consciousness, and you'll start to see how you can introduce a more abundance consciousness. You'll start to see how different things might have been impacting you, how you've been maybe wearing old clothes for so long. I used to do that. Holding on to old things, having a messy environment, all of these things impact our abundance. But all of these things become clear as you begin to implement just one or two of these things. One or two of these things, and you have started your journey. So, my friend, there is nowhere else you need to go to become more abundant. Your abundance lays within you. It's an idea within you. What if you start to imagine that you have access to the purse strings of God? What would that do for you? Maybe visualize that. You have so much power and potential within you that just thinking differently and choosing to feel differently activates it. And then life is never the same again. You're already good enough. You're already worth it. Now you've just got to do it. I hope you'll do it. I can't wait to hear what this has done for you, because this year I have attracted so much, so much. It just keeps coming. I thought the business needed to bring me in this abundance. It didn't. I had to think about things differently and had to feel differently about things. Then everything else changed. And that's why I'm sharing it with you. So go activate that abundance. This is how we're going to shift the world. You're going to shift you. That current is going to resonate outwards and you're going to impact other people. And then those people are going to impact other people. And then we're going to shift the whole world. That's how powerful we are. I can't wait to see you next time. Stay blessed, stay well, and I will see you then. Mwah.